Hey guys, it's Deltia from deltiasgaming.com here. Make a little video on SWTOR gearing system and how to get geared up for ranked solos or group. Why? Well, SWTOR just released the announcement that you get a Rancor mount for Tier 1 rewards. It's around 1500 rating, not very easy to get, and especially if you plan on stepping in with just your PvE gear or just some basic gear, you're not going to have a lot of success, and a lot of people are going to get mad at you because you're not competitive at all. So I came up with a basic system that I do when I get a fresh 55 geared up, and how to go about it to spend your comms the fastest and best way to make it a lot easier before you step into ranked. It's really going to help overall your performance, and then you'll be prepared to go in there so you won't have a huge hole to dig out of. So let's go over the basics and get to work. Alright, so how does PvP work in SWTOR? As you can see, I'm in a random hut ball here, just doing a rig. You basically get medals based on your performance, so damage, healing, protection, solo kills, bunch of various stuff. So I'm going to show you what it looks like here. So I got this guy Ramboing in, and as I do damage or whatnot, I get medals. I got 3 right there. You see how it gets there? So I got 4 currently. The max you can get is 8. Once you get 8, you're not going to start accumulating any more points. So we're just going to beat on this guy until we get 8 here in a second. And so it's for a bunch of different things. So let's say this guy is hurt, peel back for him. Mez the target, and I'm going to get attacked here using some cooldowns. I don't know what my team's doing. It's the usual. Anyway, so you can get more than 8. Obviously, you can actually get, I think, I don't know, 20 or so. They stack up, but you don't get any more points in the war zones or production. So really your aim is to do 8 medals regardless of what you're trying to do, whether it's heals, DPS, tanking, and so on. It's a lot easier to get these medals when you're tanking because you have damage, you have kills, and you have protection. So it's probably the easiest way. As a healer, it may be a little bit hard because you're not doing a whole lot of damage. So I got 8 medals without dying. That's the unbeatable tag. There's different tags for your performance, so you can get invincible like getting 18 and so on. And it's not really that hard to get it as a jug. You just use intercede, do damage, and taunt people. Really, that's all it is. So that's the basic premise of it, the 8 medal system to reward you on points. Once this map's done, depending on how we win, depending on the time and all that sort of thing, it'll average out. Most pretty much I've ever gotten is 140 comms. The least I've gotten is probably about 30, so it just depends on what map you're doing, how long it takes. And I don't know the exact formula, but that's a rough estimate of how it works. So let's move on to how we can go about getting our gear, because I don't want to stay playing this up ball the whole time. Alright, we're back on the fleet here where all the cool PvPers hang out in the combat training area. Kind of going to go over what we need to do to get the gear, how to work on it. Essentially, SWTOR uses a commendation system, very familiar with MMOs. You got Warzone comms, which are your basic comms, and you got rank comms, which are the harder to get ones. Warzone comms come from doing unranked Warzones, and the queue area here. So clicking on here, queue it up. It's a variety of different maps, so on. Ranked Warzone queues solo, that's just exactly what you get, is the arenas only. So that's pretty obvious. They give you the ranked kind of commendations. Don't do ranked to gear up. Believe me, you will get crushed. So we're going to get to a little bit more on how to get there first off. So you got the 2 comm system. You get comms by doing war zones, doing PvP. You can trade up to rank comms at a 3-to-1 ratio, so obviously it's a lot more expensive and time consuming getting ranked Warzone comms. And you can trade down at a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's not the best thing to do off the bat. That's how that works. There's a terminal right here where you get the quest. There's essentially 3 quests. One is a daily that's 0 out of 4. What does that mean? You do a war zone, a win counts as 2, a loss counts as 1. And then after you get that, you turn in and get another one. So those reward 100 and 100 and 100. So that's 200 comms there. Weekly is the 15, and it lowers 300. So if you get the weeklies reset on Tuesday, you get that done, that's a big, huge boost to your commendations. So I recommend doing those when you can. If you don't have the time to play, that's understandable. So quick gear set recommendations. I recommend getting the 2 Oberon relics first as my #1 priority. Now, why is it important to get the Oberon level 67 gear? If I come here, I look at my primary stat boost relic. It's 125 primary stats for 12 seconds and procs every 40 seconds. My Oberon one, however, is every 20 seconds for 6 seconds and 625 stats. That's a 500 stat increase. Now the power one's only a 200 stat increase, but that's a lot of burst, so you really need to focus on getting that one first. It's going to add a lot of DPS to your rotation. Next thing I do is I get a complete itemized set of Conqueror. We're going to talk about that. And then obviously the off pieces, belt bracer, main hand, offhand, and etc. So how long does this take as a commitment? Well, roughly it's about 26,000 unranked commendations. So I calculated this with basically, if you win a lot, you can average about 600 commendations per hour, not including dailies. So it's going to roughly take you 40 hours plus to get this, if just playing Warzones. So it's going to take some time. But if you don't do this and you go into rated Warzone solos and you think you're going to crush everyone, it will not happen. You may win 1 or 2 here and there, but over time, you're not going to have the same success as other people that have spent the time to gear, learn their character, learn the maps, and feel like they're confident enough to go in there. So first things first, get an orange set of gear that you like. I got some cool looking gear, I think. And what I did was augment it all. That's obvious. Now, you need to augment stuff. It adds a lot of damage, healing, endurance, whatever to your character, and you're going to get targeted a lot less. Because if we see someone in a war zone with less than 30k health, we will go after them very first. Because we know they're probably not a PvPer. And if they have more than 33k health and they're not a tank, we know they're a PvEer that has the latest and greatest PvE gear, and we're going to attack them first. So make sure your HP is basically in the range of 33k health to 31k health. Otherwise, you will get focused. So how do you get MK9s? Well, there's a lot of different ways, but it's basically going to cost around 2 million credits unless you do it yourself, completely crafting it. So you're going to have to do a lot of time-consuming grinding dailies or crafting or however you make money in this game. But you need to get this done before you take it serious. Oberon Relics, talked about that. 4-piece set bonus. As I'm highlighting my gear right now, you can see that at the bottom of it shows 2 and 4. Those give you a set bonus piece depending on your class and advanced type and whatnot. Uchini Cast has a really good list of what you need to get and how to get it. And basically you just go to the vendor over here per your advanced class. So I'm at the strength one, which is from Marauders and Juggernauts. You highlight the thing. So this is the Challenger. Well, that one's for Marauders. You go down, Vindicator. That one's for my class. So you pick that. Now you get 4 pieces, but there's 5 pieces total. So don't buy the 5th piece. What you need is get that 4-piece right away. So Oberon Relics, 4 pieces. That's going to give you what you need right away to be competitive. And then from there on, I go with Belt Bracer. That's around 600 commendations a piece and gives you a lot of expertise. So that will be more comparable. Once you get that, I go main hand, offhand. Those are a little more expensive, but that is where a lot of your damage or healing comes from, so you need to get that. Then ear implants, those are cheap upgrades, but needs to be done. And then finally the last, armoring. So that's going to give you a full set of expertise PvP gear. But we're not done yet. No, that's just the basics. Because once you get the gear, it's not going to be in the right format. For instance, let's say I'm gearing out this guy, and I need to buy an offhand. And it has power and alacrity in the enhancement, as we see. We don't want alacrity. The most simplest way to gear your character is power, strength, surge. Just keep it simple. Now you can add crit, you can add alacrity based on your character class, and tanking, obviously you want different stats. But the most simple way to do it, power, strength, or your main stat, and surge. Because crit and all these other stats have gotten nerfed so hard in the past that they're just not that effective, and especially you have to put so many stats into them to get anything out of them, and power doesn't have diminishing returns, so most people just use that as a simple way to gear their character. So let's say we need to replace a mod or 2 or 9 or whatever we have. We come here, and then this is just that PvP vendor. At the top it has a list of mods. So DAF mods, what I want to replace my inappropriate mods that have crit or some other stat in them. There's 3 different versions: 28X, 28BX, 28AX. The AX has a lot of main stat, BX has a lot of endurance, X has the best balance of power and strength, and is the most damage regardless if you have a stat bonus or not. So you're going to want to get these. So once you get those, you get all those replaced, you come over here, and in between the power tech and the operative, there's a vendor. And these offer the enhancements for 400 comms each. And the adept is what you want. So adept is going to be the power surge, the best DPS enhancement. Now you're going to get a few of these just by getting your full expertise gear. So only buy as many as you have. And then basically power surge, power surge, power surge. And this guy isn't fully geared yet, but he's pretty close. Like I said, you can add accuracy and all those other things in there, but it's just not as effective right now as I like. So I make sure that I always go that route. Now another thing you'll notice is you can kind of speed up this grind by doing more than one character. For instance, I got all these dailies and weeklies on here, right? So I can do this guy and then go to my other level 55 and do it again. What I like to do is have advanced classes on each side, so I have a Juggernaut and a Guardian. You'll notice I have basically everything in legacy gear, all 5 pieces. So my belt bracer, hands, gloves, boots. What I do is I send them over and then they do the dailies on the other character, send them back, and keep doing that. And I have basically all these advanced classes that have mirrored gear, so it's much easier to gear up your guys. Now you don't have to go to that extent, and not everyone has that much playtime, but it's a way you can speed up things if you like. So make sure to get those daily done, and it's going to really help you. And then legacy gear, there's a bunch of different vendors. You know, Voss, there's Oricon, McKeb, bunch of different things. It is kind of expensive, but you're going to need to do it. So, I mean, overall, you're going to be spending a lot of time, a lot of credits to get even remotely prepared. But once you do, it's a lot of fun. I mean, biggest thing you can do is just sit down for an hour or 2 and just queue. And I struggle with this because I get frustrated and want to quit and everything, but you just got to get there. Depending on the class you have, depending on how easy it's going to be. I'm almost at 1500, which is the tier 1 reward. But, I mean, it's been a struggle getting there. Almost 2-to-1 win-loss ratio, but they could go down or sail up just depending on who's online. So stay with it, get motivated, and maybe it's not for you, but at least give it a try. It's a huge, great part of the game that I really enjoy. It's a good lot of community, good people, and it's just competitive. I like to compete, no matter if it's, you know, football, weightlifting, ping pong, whatever. I want to compete, and maybe you don't, but if you do, this is the outlet for you. So once you get there, click, and you fire up that Warzone queue and get ready for a blast, because SWTOR PvP is fun. Well, I think hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video and learned something. Feel free to contact me if you have any information you want to add, or you'd like to comment the video. Please subscribe if you liked it. And if you want to play with me on the Prophecy of 5, I'm Delty and would love to game it up with you guys. So thanks. Talk to you later.